Weddings are supposed to be about love, unity,
family.
all that carefully curated Hallmark stuff. But when it's your own parents telling you, you can watch the wedding online, you start to realize just how easily a white dress can cover 1,000 cracks. My sister Jasmine was getting married, or rather, my parents were marrying her off like it was a business deal disguised as a garden ceremony. She was the golden child, the perfectionist, the one who always got the upgraded room, the final say, the benefit of the doubt. I, on the other hand, was the daughter they never quite figured out how to love properly. Too emotional. Too curious. Too me. It started with a phone call. Layla, honey, we need to talk about Jasmine's big day. My mom said, voice syrupy and clearly rehearsed. I was already bracing myself. Okay, so we've had to really cut down the guest list. Right. And with the venue being intimate and Jasmine feeling overwhelmed, just say it, Mom. Silence. We're asking you to attend virtually. My heart didn't drop. It calcified. You're asking me not to come to my own sister's wedding. No. You'll still see everything. We're streaming it. Front row seat from your couch. That's not a front row seat. That's exile with Wi-Fi. Sweetheart, don't make this about you. It's Jasmine's day. There it was. The phrase I'd heard my whole life. The go-to shield for every betrayal. Don't make this about you. The next week was a blur of fake smiles and digital breadcrumbs. I got a formal e-invite, not even printed, with a generic access code and a line that read, "We can't wait to celebrate with you from wherever you are."
As if that made it okay.
I didn't call Jasmine.
She didn't call me.
That silence was its own RSVP. The day of the wedding, I sat on my couch in sweatpants, a mug of coffee in my hand, and a knot in my throat. The live stream hadn't started yet. Just a waiting screen with soft music, like I was queuing for a dental appointment, not my sister's vows. My phone buzzed. A group text from the family chat. "Mom, she looks like a princess. Aunt Maya, so elegant. The lace. Dad, we're so proud." Not a single message directed at me. Not a "wish you were here." Not even a "hope the stream's working." Just static joy, curated for public consumption. Then the video began. A wide shot of the garden venue, chairs lined with eucalyptus garlands and overly dramatic harp music floating in the air. The camera panned slowly as guests took their seats. And that's when I saw it. My seat. Front row. Empty. A crisp white name card fluttering in the breeze, anchored to the chair by a tiny glass favor. Layla. My name. I blinked. I thought maybe I imagined it, but the camera lingered just long enough for me to zoom in on the screen. They'd set a seat for me. They just hadn't told me. What kind of sick game was this? Did they expect me to feel honored? Grateful that they gave my absence a seat in the photo op? The chat buzzed again. Mom, everything's perfect, red heart. I closed the chat. I didn't want their version of perfect anymore. The ceremony began. Jasmine walked down the aisle, glowing in that made-for-Instagram way. Her groom, Parker, waited at the altar with the exact smile of a man trained for family approval. I stared at the screen, equal parts numb and boiling, when suddenly, the feed froze. Not a full crash. Not a buffering wheel. Just a frozen image, like someone hit pause on the lie. The shot captured Jasmine mid-step, but it wasn't her I noticed. It was the man standing at the end of the aisle, not Parker. Someone else. Broad-shouldered. Not in formal wear. Not smiling. And behind him?
Gasps.
Chaos. Motion-blurred figures turning in their seats. I clicked refresh. Nothing. I switched to my phone. Still frozen. Then the image skipped. Like a glitch trying to hide the truth. Suddenly, Jasmine's dress was torn at the hem. Her veil askew. Parker nowhere to be seen. My mother standing from her chair, mouth open. And someone, a woman in black, shouting just out of frame. The audio stuttered. You lied. You said she didn't know.
Cut. Dead stream.
A gray screen with the words, "Event has ended. Thank you for watching." I sat there, staring at the lifeless feed, pulse pounding like a war drum.
What
just happened? My phone lit up.
Not the group chat this time.
A message from an unknown number. I know what they did to you. I try to stop the wedding. I think you need to know the truth. Attached was a video file. The name? Layla_MOV. I didn't open the file right away. I stared at the message like it might self-destruct. My thumb hovered over the play button as 100 thoughts tried to crowd each other out.
Who sent this?
Why now? What could possibly be so important that they risked crashing my sister's wedding to tell me? And then, finally, what if it's about me? The file opened in landscape mode, shaky at first, like someone was hiding the camera. Rows of wedding guests appeared in the frame, backs of heads bobbing as they turned to look toward the aisle. I recognized the layout immediately. It was the same angle as the live stream, but this wasn't an official feed. This was real, unfiltered, unapproved. The clip began a few seconds before Jasmine's entrance. The officiant was speaking, something scripted about new beginnings and forever love. Then the music shifted, soft harp chords, clearly meant to signal Jasmine's arrival. People stood. Phones rose in synchrony. And then not Jasmine. A man stepped into the aisle from the left. Tall, sharp suit, stormy face. The crowd gasped. "Who is that?" someone whispered. I leaned closer. The video zoomed in and my stomach flipped. It was Kieran, my ex. I hadn't seen him in over a year. Not since we'd split for good. After the lies, after the betrayal, after the thing no one in my family had believed me about. They said I was dramatic, overreacting, projecting my past onto a good man who was just in over his head. Except now he was here, at my sister's wedding. And Jasmine, when she stepped into the aisle behind him, didn't look surprised. She looked guilty. The video crackled with background noise. Someone tried to usher Kieran aside. He shook them off. "You're seriously gonna do this?" he said, eyes on Jasmine. "Marry him like none of this ever happened?" Jasmine froze. "Kieran, not now." "Oh, now you care about timing?" he snapped. "What about all those nights when you said you loved me, when you said you'd never tell Layla?" My blood turned to ice. The camera jostled. Guests began murmuring louder. The groom, Parker, stepped forward, confusion giving way to fury. "What is this?" he asked. "Who the hell are you?" Kieran turned to him, breathing hard. "Ask your fiancé." "Get out," Jasmine hissed. "This isn't your day. It's not yours either. Not if the truth gets a mic." Then the camera swung to the left. A woman was standing now. Long black dress, dark lipstick, a commanding kind of beauty, sharp, confident, and unapologetically loud. "Tell them, Jasmine," the woman called. "Tell them how you pretended to be Layla, how you sent the messages, how you manipulated both of them." My mouth dropped open. She continued. "You played them both. Broke your sister's heart and then turned around and tried to marry yours away like nothing happened." The camera caught my mom, standing, frantic, whispering to the venue staff. My dad looked like someone had unplugged his understanding of the world. Parker stepped back from Jasmine. "What is she talking about?" Jasmine started crying. Not softly. Ugly, stammering sobs. The kind you can't spin into sympathy when the truth hits the air like acid. "I didn't mean for it to go that far," she said. I wanted to know what it felt like." The video ended with guests screaming, the mic being knocked over, and someone, probably the mystery woman, shouting, "Layla deserves the truth." Then static.
End file.
I sat in stunned silence. The betrayal wasn't just casual cruelty anymore. It was engineered. Jasmine had been the one behind the fake messages I'd once received. The anonymous text that hinted Kieran had someone else, that pushed me to break things off when I'd felt something was off. She had pretended to be me to him, and him to me, all to take him. And now, she tried to bury it with wedding vows and lace. My phone buzzed again. Same number. "If you want the rest of the story, meet me. Tomorrow. Noon. Send no one. Come alone." Location pinned. Evergrove Cafe, 5 blocks from the venue. I didn't respond. I just saved the number under one word. Truth. I didn't sleep that night. I rewatched the file 3 times. Paused on Jasmine's face. Paused on Parker's confusion. Paused on Kieran's rage. Paused on the woman in black who had, somehow, stood up for me louder than my own family ever had. By morning, the group chat had exploded. Mom, we need to talk. Dad, what happened was unplanned. Jasmine, I need you to understand I didn't mean for any of it to spiral. Aunt Maya, Layla, sweetie, please call me. Uncle Jay, are you okay? Do you want me to talk to them? Moam, Layla, do not meet with her. She's unstable. Unstable? My fingers hovered. Then I typed one thing back. Too late. I'm meeting her. And you don't get to stop me anymore. I left my apartment 10 minutes early. I wore the same shoes I'd bought for Jasmine's wedding. The ones I was supposed to wear if I'd been invited like a real sister. And as I walked into Evergrove Cafe at 11:59 a.m., I knew I wasn't just meeting a stranger. I was walking into a truth 10 years in the making. Evergrove Cafe was the kind of place Jasmine would have scoffed at, mismatched mugs, indie rock humming from the walls, and handwritten chalkboard specials like cinnamon rose latte and honest toast. I stood in the doorway for a second, scanning. There she was, the woman in black. Same sharp eyeliner. Same no apology stare. She was already seated, one leg crossed, one hand around a steaming mug like she had all the time in the world. You came, she said, smiling. You're not exactly easy to ignore, I replied. She gestured to the seat across from her. Sit. I have a story you've waited your whole life to hear, even if you didn't know it. I sat and braced myself. My name's Mila, she began. I'm not family, but I might as well be. I dated Kieran. My stomach nodded. After me? Before. And during. And probably during your sister too, if we're being honest. He never mentioned you. Because I don't fit the fantasy. I wasn't passive. I asked too many questions. Eventually, he ghosted me, and I let it go until I realized something.
What? She leaned in.
Your name started showing up. What do you mean? After he ghosted me, I got curious. And when I looked into him, I found his name tagged in a photo. Your photo. Smiling. Holding hands. It was a vacation pic, I think. That's when I knew he had a type. Brunettes with bad judgment? She smirked. That too. But no, he liked women who were easy to compartmentalize. Women who didn't know about each other. She took a sip of coffee. But here's the part that mattered. A few months after you broke up, and I'd already moved on, I bumped into someone. She introduced herself as Jasmine. And she looked exactly like you. But colder. Like someone who wore your face as armor. My blood turned to ice again. Where? A gallery opening downtown. Kieran was there. She was hanging off his arm. But here's the twist. She called herself Layla. She what? I swear. She introduced herself to everyone there as Layla Morgan. And I was standing across the room like, huh? She just straight up assumed your identity. I couldn't breathe. He knew. Oh yeah. And when I confronted him, he said I was crazy. Said I was jealous. Said it was you. I sat back. Everything hurt in places I didn't know could still ache. So, they were together. Jasmine and Kieran. While I was dating him. More than that. She was pretending to be with him. And when things got complicated, she started manipulating both of you to keep the lie going. But why? Because she couldn't stand not being chosen. Mila reached into her bag. She pulled out a manila folder and slid it across the table. I'm not just here to spill tea, Layla. I brought proof. Emails. Screenshots. Timeline. Receipts. She built a second life behind your back, and your parents knew. I opened the folder. The first page was a printed email. From Jasmine Morgan to Kieran_Assad. Subject. Layla's getting suspicious. If she asks anything, just say it was her idea. She won't fight you. She never does. Trust me, once I tell Mom and Dad, they'll back me up. They always do. Just hang on a little longer. I felt sick. Page after page. Texts from Jasmine pretending to be me, then flipping back to herself depending on the audience. A whole digital gaslighting operation. Photos of her with Kieran, smiling, captioned as L or LM. Emails to my parents, warning them I was spiraling again and might ruin the family. Why are you doing this? I asked Mila finally. Why help me? She stirred her coffee. Because I've been the girl everyone doubted. The one gaslight into silence. And because when I saw you watching that stream, alone, disinvited, disrespected, I knew I couldn't let it slide. You were there? Back row. Black dress. No one remembered me. That's how I got so close. I exhaled, slow. What now? That depends on how loud you want your truth to be. Louder than they ever let me be. She smiled. Then here's what we do. Mila outlined a plan. It was brutal. Surgical. Beautiful. She had every receipt ready to publish. Not for revenge, she said, but for clarity. She offered to walk with me to every person in that wedding party and show them the truth, or help me go public in my own voice. But the first person I'd need to confront? My parents. Because they'd known. At least partially. And they'd chosen silence over protection. We finished our coffee. As we left, Mila turned to me and said, "They stole your voice, Layla. Time to make them listen. You can hold on to pain quietly for years, decades even. But when someone hands you proof that everything you suspected was real, that pain stops being private. It starts demanding a witness." I gave my parents exactly 24 hours. Sent a text. No pleasantries. Just, "I know everything. You have one day to prepare to hear it all," in my voice. I knew they'd show up. Not because they wanted to. Because they were terrified I might go public before they had a chance to spin it. We met at their house. The same house where I took my first steps, learned to ride a bike, and was told over and over again to let Jasmine shine. It looked smaller now. Like the walls had shrunk under the weight of all their lies. They were already sitting at the dining table when I walked in. Matching expressions, tense, rehearsed, bracing for damage control. "Layla," my dad started. "We were going to—" "Stop." I pulled out Mila's folder. Thick, damning, impossible to deny. "No talking until I'm done. You've had a lifetime to lie. I get 15 minutes of truth." My mother opened her mouth, then closed it. I laid the folder flat. Jasmine manipulated my relationship. She impersonated me. She gaslit both me and Kieran. And when it all started falling apart, she came to you. I looked my mom in the eye. She told you I was unstable. And instead of questioning why your perfect daughter knew so much about my life, you believed her. My dad's fingers twitched. "Layla, it wasn't like..." "You believed her so much you disinvited me from her wedding. You set a seat with my name on it and then told me to watch the live stream like some estranged aunt." Silence. I reached for the next page. This is the email where she tells Kieran you'll back her up. That you always do. That I never fight. I dropped it between them. My mom looked away. "We didn't know everything. But you knew enough." The worst part wasn't the betrayal. It was the choreography of it all. How carefully they edited me out of my own life. Like a character in the family story who had outlived her usefulness. "You raised us both," I said. "But you made me feel optional." Jasmine got grace. I got silence. My dad's voice cracked. "You were always harder to understand."
No.
I was just harder to control. I stood up, reached into my bag, and pulled out a flash drive. Here's the video of the wedding. The uncut version. Where did you? Someone who actually gives a damn gave it to me. I placed the drive on the table. You should watch it. Hear your voices. Watch your faces. Sit in what you enabled. My mom finally looked at me, eyes red, mouth trembling. "What do you want from us?" "Nothing." They blinked. Not revenge. Not money. Not apologies you barely understand. Then why? "I wanted to look you in the face, tell the truth out loud, and watch you sit in it. Just like I sat in the silence." I turned to leave. Paused at the door. There's going to be fallout. People will ask questions. Jasmine's picture-perfect reputation? It's cracked. Whether you help her fix it or let her face it, that's on you. And you? My dad asked softly. I'm done being edited. Outside, Mila was waiting in the car. She rolled down the window. That the sound of peace?
Not yet, I said.
But it's the sound of my voice. That night, I posted a thread. No drama. No rage. Just facts. Screenshots.
Timelines.
The wedding clip. Jasmine's texts. One final video. Me, to camera saying, for every person who's been silenced in the name of keeping the peace, here's proof that peace without truth is just a prettier cage. I found the key. You can too. It went viral in under 12 hours. The thread trended.
Podcasts DM'd.
People told their own stories. Some called me brave. Some called me dramatic. But every voice that joined mine made one thing clear. They couldn't shut me down anymore. She showed up at my door like she hadn't burned it down. 3 days after the post went viral. 2 days after Parker called off the engagement. 1 day after my aunt forwarded me the group chat meltdown titled, "We need to do damage control." I didn't answer the door immediately. I stood on the other side of the wood, staring at her blurry silhouette through the frosted glass, the same outline that used to sleep across from me in bunk beds and tell me my hair looked weird, but fine. Now she looked like a stranger. When I finally opened it, Jasmine was already crying. Of course. No hello. No eye contact. Just this broken, breathless sob designed for sympathy, like I hadn't watched her perform it 100 times to get out of consequences. Layla, I didn't know where else to go. You had an entire wedding full of people. What happened to them? They think I'm a monster. You acted like one. She stepped inside without permission, like we were still kids, and she was borrowing my things without asking. I watched her as she scanned the room. Photos of me and friends, real ones, a space built without her approval. Why did you post it? She asked. You humiliated me. I blinked slowly. You pretended to be me. Slept with my boyfriend. Gaslit me out of my own life. And you're asking about humiliation? It wasn't supposed to go that far. But it did. Because you let it. She sat down on the couch. I was tired of always being the perfect one. The good daughter. The one mom and dad counted on. No one forced that on you. But it was all I had. And when Kieran started looking at you, when you started getting attention, I panicked. My hands curled into fists. So you stole my name? I didn't steal it. I borrowed it. I just wanted to know what it felt like to be you for once. That's not borrowing. That's identity theft, Jasmine. She looked like she was going to snap. I'm sorry, okay? I said it. What else do you want? The truth.
She paused.
Then something shifted in her face. Less theatrics. More edge.
Fine.
You want the truth? I didn't just want what you had. I wanted to prove I could take it. That even your identity, your messy, moody, disappointing identity, couldn't survive next to mine. She stood up. And you know what? For a while it worked. Mom and Dad believed me.
Kieran believed me.
You even believed me when I said it was all in your head. My throat burned, but I didn't look away. And now, she laughed bitterly. Now no one believes me. And you get to be the brave one. The survivor. The viral icon. I didn't want a spotlight. I wanted a seat at the damn table. Well, she spat, congrats. You got it. And I lost everything. I took a deep breath. Jasmine, you never lost me. You threw me away. She flinched. What do you want me to do? Start over. Somewhere else. As yourself this time. And you. I'm already doing that.
She looked around one more time.
Tears started again, but this time, I didn't move to comfort her. This grief wasn't mine to hold. When she left, she didn't slam the door. She just disappeared into the hallway, like a chapter finally closing. I sat on the floor for a long time after, thinking, not about revenge, or forgiveness, or even justice, just about the strange silence that follows the truth. A silence that isn't empty, just waiting for something new. Mila texted me later that night. She come crawling yet? She cried on the couch. And I didn't cry back. That's growth, babe. The next morning, I opened my inbox to dozens of messages, not just strangers, but women like me. Stories of gaslighting, erasure, family betrayal. I wasn't alone anymore. And I'd never let myself be edited again. 3 months later, I stood on the small stage of a community center downtown, mic in one hand, my name printed on a folding sign taped to the podium, Layla Morgan, storytelling guest speaker. 15 rows of chairs. A quiet buzz. People adjusting their seats, leaning forward, holding cups of free coffee and expectations. And me in the center. Not edited. Not erased. Not Jasmine's sister, or the complicated one. Just Layla. I'd been invited to share my story for a local women's advocacy panel. The theme was silenced voices, loud truths. I almost said no. Not because I wasn't ready, but because I wasn't sure they were. But then I remembered what Mila told me that night after the confrontation. The loudest stories aren't always the ones people scream. Sometimes they're the ones that survive being ignored.
So I took the mic.
And I told them about the letter I never got, the wedding seat I wasn't allowed to fill, the family that chose reputation over relationship, and the sister who borrowed my identity and nearly erased me in the process. I didn't sugarcoat anything. I didn't demonize either. I told the truth with its splinters intact. Afterward, a woman in the back stood up. Did you ever get closure? I smiled. Closure isn't something people give you. It's something you take when you stop waiting for the apology and start living like it already came. I walked off stage feeling 10 pounds lighter. Not because I'd let go, but because I'd let it out. Back home, I found a letter waiting for me. Not an email, not a text, an envelope. Return address blank. Inside, a folded page in familiar handwriting. Layla, there's no excuse. But there is truth, and I owe you that. I saw you speak today. Someone sent me the link. You were real.
Brave. Whole.
I hope someday I can be even half that honest. I hope someday I can say, sister, again, and have it mean something good. Until then, I'm trying. Wherever I am.
J.
No plea. No manipulation. Just an inch of honesty. It wasn't reconciliation, but it was recognition. I folded the letter and placed it in a box I now kept labeled, The Things I Faced and Survived. It sat beside my old journals, the screenshots, the folder from Mila, and the invitation to speak again next month. Not because I lived in the past, because I earned my way through it. Mila and I still talked. Less frequently now, not because we drifted, but because we didn't need each other like armor anymore. You good, she texted once a week. Better than good, I replied this time. I'm loud. Hell yeah. My parents? We haven't fully spoken. They sent me a letter too, clumsy, laced with we didn't know, and we were trying our best. I didn't respond. Not yet. Healing doesn't require reopening the door. Sometimes it just means you stop knocking. I changed my name on social media. Not to hide. To claim. I added back my middle name, the one I always thought was too much. Layla Niel Morgan.
Strong. Whole. Mine.
One night, a stranger messaged me. I watched her story. I thought I was the only one who got erased by people who claimed to love me. Thank you for proving survival can be louder than silence. I responded, You're not alone. You were never alone. They just convinced you that your voice didn't count. My story didn't end at the wedding live stream. It didn't end in the confrontation, the post, the fallout. It ends here, with me, in my own space, writing my own truth, on a timeline no one else controls. And if you're reading this, maybe it's time you wrote yours too. Just remember, no one gets to borrow your name, ever again.